So there's been a lot of talk and conversation surrounding Mississippi Valley State. In particular, their marching band and the invite that they received from the incoming Trump administration to perform at the inauguration. There's been a lot of talk and speculation as to whether they should take it or if they shouldn't take it. And of course, there's been a whole lot of conversation surrounding them putting out a post basically trying to raise money so that they can go to the parade. And I'm not going to lie, this is very interesting to me, but it's also kind of disappointing. And not disappointment with Mississippi Valley State, but disappointment with the black community and the HBCU community overall. And let me explain to you why. First of all, let's just make this one thing clear. Whether anybody likes it or not, the new administration is the new administration. The people in power are the people in power. Point blank, period. It doesn't matter how anybody feels about it. It's going to happen regardless. That's number one. But number two, and this is my most important point, we all know that Mississippi Valley State is struggling in terms of enrollment, in terms of athletic facilities, in terms of endowment, in terms of name recognition. Like, we got to be honest. They are struggling. They don't have the resources. They don't have the facilities. They don't have the endowments. They don't have the name recognition. They don't have the famous alumni that many other historically black colleges do. Now, let's just be real. There's a hierarchy in the HBCU world, right? Let's just be real. There are certain schools that always get talked about, and there's a lot of schools that never get talked about. If you're going to be real, like the Tier 1 schools, you're going to have Howard, you're going to have Spelman, Morehouse, Grambling. You know, we all know that this it's always whenever they talk about donating to HBCUs or giving HBCUs this opportunity, there's always about 5 schools that get all the donations, they get all the money, they get all the pledges, they get all the opportunities. Let's just be real. Like, we got to be honest about that. The only reason Savannah State got first take was because Shannon Sharp went to Savannah State. If he had not went to Savannah State, guess what he would have been at? Howard, Hampton, Morehouse, Tuskegee, Jackson State. Like, let's just be real. And so it's real easy to talk about solidarity and sticking together and fighting the power when you're one of the 5 or 10 schools that get most of the publicity. Let's just be real. It's real easy when you're one of the ones at the top. But what I don't like is everybody wants to come out and condemn Mississippi Valley State for trying to take advantage of an opportunity that everyone knows that they need, but no one has provided. Now, let's just be real. We just had the HBCU Tip-Off Classic. Who do we see? Hampton, North Carolina A&T, Howard. Then when it comes to Division II, you'll see Winston-Salem State, Tuskegee, possibly Virginia Union. Just think about MEAC Swag Challenges and Apple Blossom Classics. Who are you going to see? FAMU, Jackson State, Howard, Central, maybe South Carolina State. But the Delaware states, the Mississippi Valley states, the Elizabeth Cities, the Lincolns, the Shaws, the Morgan States, the list goes on and on. A lot of schools don't get the limelight. They don't get the shots. They don't get the opportunities. They don't get the invites. They don't get the endowments. They don't get the celebrity endorsements. They don't get the big old checks. They don't get that. And so what we all know is that there are so many schools in need. And none of us, for whatever reason, are going to go into our pockets to help these institutions out. But when they feel as though they got to make a decision that they need to make in order to keep their doors open, When they feel as though they've come across an opportunity that they need to capitalize on, now all of a sudden we got all this negative stuff to say, oh, don't do this, don't listen. If you're not going to help them keep the doors open, then you shouldn't say anything about what they're doing. That's my take on it. If you're not going to help them keep their doors open, then why would you be criticizing what they're trying to do in order to keep it open? I don't see a lot of us giving Mississippi Valley State a whole bunch of opportunities or Cheney State a whole bunch of opportunities. Like, let's just be real, because I was looking at this a little bit earlier. The overall brand of Mississippi Valley State is a lot smaller than a lot of smaller Division II HBCUs. Like, we forget, Mississippi Valley State is a Division I school that is in the SWAC, in the same state as Jackson State. But if you look at something as simple as social media brands, Mississippi Valley State has a smaller social media brand than a lot of middle-of-the-road Division II HBCUs. Look at their engagement on social media. Look at their number of followers. And now compare that to a lot of regular, run-of-the-mill Division II HBCUs, and you'll see that they're falling even behind them. And so if they feel as though that they need to perform in order to grow their brand, I say more power to them. You got to do what you got to do to keep your doors open. Because people will tell you, don't do this and don't do that, but they ain't going to help you. And ultimately, when you become St. Paul's College, it is what it is. When you become Morris Brown, it is what it is. You'll sit up there and try to people please people that are not going to help you all the way to the closing of the school. Do what you got to do to keep them doors open, Mississippi Valley State. Do your thing.